for joining me on my podcast this week. Before we get started, though, I do want my audience to know that you are an awesome person and I love your background, and I don't want to botch it or mess it up. So can you please explain to us exactly what you did in theater and what you did with your clients? Because I found that so fascinating.
Absolutely. So thank you, first of all, for having me as a guest on your show.
You're
I mean, I
welcome.
felt like when we recorded, like we both vibed, and I was like, she has such a cool, genuine energy that I love this. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
giving me the opportunity of being on your
Well,
podcast.
oh yeah, most definitely.
So
Okay.
exactly. So just a little bit about me is I taught high school theater for 24 years. And, sometimes we think in life that we're just supposed to keep doing these things forever, right? And
Right.
then I was like, one day I woke up, I was going to teach a class, and I realized that I felt like I wasn't fired up anymore. I
Mhm.
wasn't excited about it. I could do the job blindfolded, backwards and forward. And I was like, okay, it's just easier to just keep going down this road and then keep doing what I'm doing. Or do I want more? Is this all there is? And so I didn't really get the bug until I started listening to podcasts, which is why I love doing the podcast, because I found so much value from it. And so I started listening to people like Tony Robbins, Brendan
Mhm.
Burchard, all those people. And Brendan Burchard came to Phoenix in like 2016. And I
Mhm.
went to his high performance academy. And then I was like, what is this? What is this coaching thing? I was
Mhm.
a high school sports coach for several years, but I was like, I've never had a personal coach like just for me and to help me find my best life. And so I was like, holy smokes. And then I realized, Ebony, that it was my next chapter. This was what I was supposed to be doing in my next chapter. It was time to close that old chapter. You
Right.
don't have to keep settling for the status quo and looking forward to retirement. I'm never looking forward to retirement because I want to keep using my brain. But
Right.
as long as I'm doing something that I want to do. And so when I started coaching, I was trying to do it like everybody else had done it. And I was like, what? And I got my certifications with Robbins Madonnas, with strategic intervention, Magali and Mark Pasha. I did some stuff with Sean Smith. So I did all the certifications, and I was like, what? I'm going so far outside, and I'm trying to leave what I did for 24 years. What
Right.
I did for 24 years was transform actors from one person to the next so that they can have a believable performance.
Okay.
And and there was one day I was meditating, and it was like, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? You've been transforming people for 24 years. Why change what you're doing now? And I was like,
Wow.
what? And so, yeah, because I've always been a person, like when I was a director, I was always a director who, and some people disagree with this, I believed in becoming the character, not just acting like the character, not just memorizing the character's lines, but you become that character. That means, like anytime I walk up and, if I say, Ebony, you're playing, this character, I'm going to speak to you as your character. I'm going to call you by your character name, and I'm going to ask you questions based on, things in your character's life. And I want you to answer as the character. And that's what I mean about it. I was like, oh my God, that's the missing ingredient with
Mhm.
my coaching, because you want people to become the people they need to be in real life so that they can achieve those goals. We don't want to pretend and act like it. We want to become those people. So
Right.
that's how that background blends itself together today.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I love
Thank
it.
you.
That is so
Thank
awesome.
you.
Of course, acting is in our nature over here in my house.
Yes,
So
I do
I was
know.
just fascinated about that. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear the story. So
Yes.
and you did this for how long? Can you tell my audience?
24 years I taught
Wow.
high school theater.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a drop in the bucket. It's like most people are like, I'm just working for 25 years. Why are you starting something new?
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
girl, because my mama stopped working in her early 60s, and then she stopped using her brain. She stopped, she used to be able to do numbers just like that. She was an insurance agent. She could count and add up like nobody's business. Once she stopped working, she stopped reading, she stopped learning. And before you knew it, Ebony, I think she was like about 80.
Mhm.
And I wanted to spend some time with her. And I was like, let's just do something, productive. Let's spend some good quality time. So I wanted to get a puzzle. We love to do puzzles together when I was younger. And I was like, okay, she's 80. I'm not going to get like 1,000. I got a jumbo puzzle that had like 25 pieces.
Okay. Wow.
She couldn't discern the difference between an end piece and a middle piece.
Oh,
These pieces were this big. I knew in that moment I didn't want to, I wanted to always keep using my brain, right? Because, yeah, people are looking forward to retirement. I'm looking forward to living life the way I want to live it, still
right.
impacting people and helping people. And so, yeah, just that little bit was a bit of a added fuel on the fire as well. So yeah, so the 24 years, it's like, no, it doesn't matter if it was 40 years, I'm still doing something else. It's my next chapter.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Because when it's time to move, it's time to move. We don't have any time to waste
That's
because
right.
it's all calculated, right? It all adds up. So
Yes.
yeah, I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, well, not a little bit. Tell me about your journey as becoming a coach. I know you tapped on it a little bit, but
Yeah.
what inspired you to become a life coach?
It was when I got my own coach. Well, first, before that, it was Brendan Burchard. I went to his thing over spring break when I was still teaching, and there was, how you just know it, you feel it in your bones. And I was like, this is my thing. I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I still wasn't 100% sure. And so I kind of knew, and I kept listening, and I kept researching coaching and all this kind of stuff. And I was at the gym one day. I was listening to Les Brown. You listen to those motivational videos on YouTube.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was on the spin bike, and I'm rolling, and I'm climbing, I'm up, and all of a sudden it just washed over me. That chapter is ended. Close that book. It is now time to impact more people on a greater level. And it is through coaching. And I cried like a baby on energy. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, because I wear my mom always told me, you're too shit and ass sensitive. You wear your feelings on your sleeve. She always said that. And I do. And it's like when I get so easily overcome with emotion, and I'm just crying. I wouldn't stop pedaling. I just kept crying. And so once I did that, I was like, okay, I need to start putting myself in the world of people like that. So I got my own coach. I worked with Christina Berkeley in her group program, and it was life-changing. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, this is what it looks like. So while I was working with her, I said, okay, I got to get my ducks in a row. I got to get certified. So I started, I've always been so inspired with Tony Robbins. I did his Robbins Madonna certification, and then Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonna's, they're the ones who have the joint. That's the Robbins Madonna's name, mm-hmm. But they're kids. Mark and Magali Page. Well, Magali is the daughter, and she's married to Mark. They also have strategic intervention certification. So I did that too. And then I was like, I still don't have enough. So then I went and did some NLP training with Sean Smith. And then, I still, like, every time I turn around, because I want to keep getting better and better and better. And so my journey still continues. But that was my journey to certification. And the first time, Ebony, I got my first client, it was like, I got my first client, he paid me $350. Wow. And I thought that was the best thing ever.
Yes.
And I celebrated like nobody's business, baby. But at $350, because somebody was paying me to do something that I didn't have the certainty that I could do.
Right. And that's what's important. Yep. We always have that self-doubt, and we feel like we're not worthy of something,
Yeah.
But once it's you, once it becomes who you are, who's to say it's not who we are, or we're not worthy of.
Right.
Yeah. The next step.
Yeah. There's a level of belief that you just have to go to. Yes. And I am a person who's always taken very safe steps, except with coaching. I only changed things or went to the next level when I knew I had a high chance of success with it. I only tried for this job. I only did that because, okay, I'm almost there anyway. So I can go a little bit. This whole quitting teaching, jumping off, this is the deep end of the Indian Ocean.
Right.
And so yeah, just having the faith to do that. And then once he was like, yeah, I love, you know what he said? He said, I love that you have a theater background. That's why I was drawn to you. And I was like, what? People don't, because I was like, who's going to want to be coached by a theater, and I know you got certification, but he validated that for me. And I just could not thank him enough for seeing me and seeing the experience and it being so meaningful for him.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. As you know, yes, I struggle with validating myself too. So it's so wonderful when people outside of your comfort zone can also validate you, and you're like, you know what? Thank you for that confirmation, because I knew it, but I needed to hear somebody else say it, right?
Right. So, you knew it, but you didn't know it, right?
Right. I didn't know it.
Yeah. So true.
That's awesome. So tell me about your day-to-day coaching. Like, what is your ideal client?
Oh, my ideal client, which I'm just now really starting to get clear on who that person is. My ideal client, it's a man or a woman, but it's someone who knows that they are here and they have a goal that's here, and the thing that's standing in their way is right here. Right. They're a person who has, your theater, right? They're a person who has been typecast. Mm-hmm. And so they've been playing the same role in their life. Then, I'm supposed to be the housewife, so I'm not going to have dreams of my own. I'm going to live through my kids. Yeah. So it's kind of like my present, the person is the struggling avatar is the typecast man or woman who is not doing what they were meant to do. And then the future pays hero, the person that is molding, aligning, all of those things, their actions, their thoughts, their words with the person that they want to become. So until they are completely aligned, then you can't achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So I work with those people who want more in life, but who are standing in their own way. And the vehicle that I do that is science of the brain, some subconscious reprogramming, and identity shifting theatrically. Right.
Yes. I love that you said that, because my next thing I was going to ask you was, how do we go about creating that shift? Like, when you created your shift from working somebody else's job, making their dreams and goals come true, to shifting to making your own dreams and your own desires come true. Like, what advice would you have to give, someone that's listening, how to even start that shift?
To make it really make sense, this is how I recognize in myself that I was holding myself back in so many different areas. Number one, here we are. I am Black, and I didn't come from a family of swimmers. I didn't come from a family who had a swimming pool that wanted to swim in a lake or swim in some place where you couldn't see the bottom. Right. So that conditioning was like, I'm not doing that. So now I'm married to a Caucasian who likes the water, who jumps off boats and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, you got to do something, or you're just never going on vacation again. Right. So this example is like, this is how it started, because I recognized that I had things, I had characteristics. I was fearful of the water, and I was like, I don't want to be that person anymore. Right. So what I did was, the one example that I started was like, okay, well, I'm not a person who's just going to jump in the water. I wanted to snorkel. So I wanted to snorkel on vacation just like everybody else. I didn't want to sit in a boat anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I started practicing in our swimming pool. We have a swimming. I live in Arizona. Everybody has a swimming pool. So I started practicing snorkeling in a swimming pool. But I had to figure out what was my version of snorkeling, right? Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to do backflips and all that kind of stuff. Now turn it on. No. I'm going to have a noodle. I can swim. But the open, like not seeing the bottom, is a different experience, right? Yeah. So I recognize, how can I make it what I will feel safe doing? So I was like, okay, I shouldn't have my mask on when I get in the water. I should get in the water, have a noodle, because I don't want to tread water and wear myself out, and then put my mask on. So then I started practicing in the swimming pool. Then instead of being dropped off in a boat for snorkeling, I started walking from the shore. I started becoming, so what I did was I started taking on the characteristics of someone who wasn't afraid of water. Now it looked different because I wasn't like jumping from the high dive platform. Right. I was going in from the shore. Right. Once I got comfortable, so taking action, once I got comfortable doing that, I was like, okay, I'm good. I can be in a boat. can drop off, but I still want to be able to see a rock because there's still a little bit of fear that goes, if something happens, I want to be able to swim to something.
Right.
So having the conditioning. So what was happening is, and this is what I do with my clients, I go, okay, what is one of the big obstacles that's stopping you from taking action? For me, it was my fear of water, which was bleeding into a lot of different areas of my life. So I was like, okay, one little bit at a time, I'm going to basically solve this problem. And that's how I solved the problem with water. And then it came down to, okay, how does this translate to my business? Because the fear of the water, fear of putting myself out there on social media, all those things, one step at a time.
One step
right?
at a time.
One step at a time, taking that small action, but action that I want to take, not some action that somebody else says I should take.
Exactly. Your way, not anybody else's way.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly. So would you describe this as like a fixed mindset?
You know, for me, it was. Now, no one could have told me that I had. You could not have convinced me that I had a fixed mindset over that. You would have been wrong, and we're going. That's some fighting words.
Right.
But doing the work, I was like, holy smokes, I had a fixed mindset for a lot of things, you know. And so, you know, even today, like one of the things that I struggle with as a coach is a fixed mindset with money. And I know it's there, and I have money blocks, and I know it's there. And so just being aware of it, it's like, oh, so when I originally go to know, before I've even heard the whole sentence, fixed mindset. So those things, so yeah, I would say probably for the majority of my life, I had a fixed mindset. It wasn't until I learned from Carol Dweck in Mindset, you know, what a fixed mindset was. But before then, it was like, girl, that's just the way it is. That's who I am. And you just deal with it.
That's it. That's
right.
We love saying that. This is who I am.
That's who I am.
Yep. I will be forever. You just got to do. Yeah, you're right. And it's so hard for people to break out of that. No, just because this is who you are doesn't mean this is who you should be, or it doesn't mean that you can't evolve into something else.
Yes.
You know, so
absolutely.
I love that. Yes.
You know, and real quick, just a story about that. My mom, again, she lived to be 85. She had a great life, and she was a diabetic. Okay. Now, and she took insulin, Ebony, 3 times a day. She took insulin. That means she was on the other spectrum of being a diabetic. You know, she didn't just have high sugar. Sometimes her sugar was 500, and you know, and sometimes I'd call her on the phone. She lived in the New Orleans area. I'd call her on the phone, and she'd be, hey, baby, how you doing? Smacking you. And I was like, girl, what are you eating? She goes, oh, I'm eating a pecan pie that your cousin, you know, Pookie brought. And I'm like, you're not supposed to be eating that pie, girl. You're a diabetic. And she would go, I'm just, this is who I am. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm not going to live to be another 85 years. So I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I ain't changing.
Okay.
And she didn't.
Right. Well, you know, when you get to 85, you kind of deserve the right to do what you want to do, you know? Because that's true. She wasn't going to live to see another 85. So,
nope.
You know, they deserve their right, I guess.
Yeah. You're right.
So talk to us a little bit about unleashing the inner you, like revealing that person who you always wanted to be, always knew you were, and being and having to deal with our community, our environments, making us who they want us to be.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so that really, when I made peace with who I was in my sexuality, only then did I become the person that I knew I was capable of being. And so, you know, I'm from the older generation. I'm 51 now. And so my mother and I never had a conversation about, she was never invited to my wedding. We just never had that conversation because I didn't grow up in a family that talked about that, you know? And so I grew up in a family that said, the Bible says, you know, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. You've heard that silly. Yeah. And so that tortured me and tormented me for the majority of my life. And it wasn't until, you know, oh God, I was doing some training, some coaching training. And one of the coaches said, you know, until you walk in the world as your authentic self, you're never going to have the impact that you want to have.
Wow.
And that just went all over me. And so I knew that I had to unleash what I thought, like the parts of me that I was ashamed of, the parts of me that I thought people weren't going to accept, the parts of me that I felt like my mother still frowned on. I had to unleash it because it was just eating me up from the inside.
Right.
And so with me unleashing that, I started not hiding who I was. One of my high school students helped me with that several years ago. He doesn't realize the favor he did me because I'd always kept my personal life separate.
Yeah.
I'm your teacher. We're not going to talk about who I go home with, and I'm not asking you that, so you don't ask me that.
That's right.
Right. And we had a show, and we were in the auditorium, right before green room, before we opened the house. And he said, "Miss Stewart, is your wife coming to the show?" And I said, "Absolutely. She doesn't miss a show." And that was huge. He gave me permission.
Yeah.
To be me.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know that, but he did.
That's awesome.
And so unleashing everything, because that part of me, that's not who I am. Now, is it a part of my identity? Yeah. But you know what? I'm a Christian first. I'm a coach first. I'm a spouse. I'm all this stuff, right?
Right.
That's not who when I walk into the room, that's not the first label that I want people to see.
Right.
Right. I want them to see that I am a person who cares. I lead with love and connection. I want the best for you. And if you're crying, I'm gonna cry too.
Right.
So yeah, so that's sort of been a little bit of my journey of unleashing and untethering to, from those old stories and that old conditioning of not feeling like I'll be accepted.
Right. Right. I love that you said until you were your authentic self.
Yeah.
You weren't going to be able to make the impact.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes with everything that we do though, Yeah. I mean, it goes with even if you're working on somebody's job and you're not happy, it goes with that too,
Right.
Yes, we subject ourselves to pleasing other people. We subject ourselves to being everybody else's identity, whether it's sexuality or my skin color,
Right.
Even on other people's job, we have to act like we're not who we are.
Right. Like, but who says but who says we have to do that?
That's true. That's right. True. We don't have to, but we know that if we don't, there's going to be a reprimand. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be a stigma put on you, or there's going to be, because, for a while, I remember maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, some little girl got sent home. And I want to say in Arizona, some little girl got sent home because she wore her hair natural to school. Do you remember that? It was like all over the news. And she was like in the 3rd or 5th grade.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And it's the same way on people's jobs. It's like, oh, you don't look professional. I actually had one of my physicians tell me that. I wore my hair.
You did?
Yeah. I wore my hair natural one day, and I came the next day and I had weave, and he said, "Oh, your hair looks so much better today." And we're in passing. Like I'm working with patients, I'm doing, and he walks in my office and he was like, "Oh, yeah," and then it dawned on me. I was like, "Oh, thank you," But later on that day, it dawned on me, my hair didn't look good enough for you because it was my hair. But because my hair looks more like your hair now, it looks better. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, unleashing everybody else's identity regardless of anything, it's crazy. Like you cannot have the right impact on people or in this world or even in your own life, in your own home, without being exactly who you want to be.
That's so true. Have you ever heard the quote? I can't recall who said it, but they were like, most people, if you ask someone who they are, like, who am I? Their answer should be based on their actions. I am who I think my friends think I am.
Wow. That's powerful. Right.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah. I am who the people on my job think I am. I become that person. I am who my best friends think I am. I am who Daryl thinks I am, right?
Right. Yep.
And then you have all these different personalities that you're like, I just want the one.
Yep. That's powerful. You're right.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
absolutely true. It's just, sadly, that's the community that we were brought up in.
yeah,
I'm 30-ish. And and even in my generation, like, yeah, you have to be what people want you to be, or there's a repercussion for that. And
right,
that's crazy.
right.
So what at one point in your life did you say, I'm tired of this. I'm ready to move on. Um, I'm ready to not only love me, but help other people love them. Like, what was that aha moment for you?
The aha moment was, honestly, it was before I moved to Arizona, and it still was a process. So I was living like I thought people wanted me to live. I've always been a Christian. I grew up in a Christian household. I'm a Christian today. I pray every morning. Um, but I was hiding my sexuality for the bulk of my life. And I just realized, I pray in the tub in the morning, whether I'm taking a bath or a shower. And there was one morning when I said, God, I want to, I want to be happy. I'm lonely. I want to really love somebody the way that I know I can love them. And I want them to love me back. And I still felt the guilt and the shame. And there was a little bit of every now and then, everything's a little step because it couldn't go from, you couldn't just flip the coin and be like, free. That didn't happen. I
Right.
came from the older generation. That didn't happen. So I prayed every morning about it. If it's okay, if you will send me somebody that that I can be with. We all want to be, I mean, that's what we're put on this earth for, is to be with, in a relationship, and all those, to connect with people. We're
Yeah.
not meant to be by ourselves. And so so I felt like he sent me different people, and then I was like, but I don't feel a real connection with these people. And then the person I'm married to right now came back into my life after like 14 years. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's it. And I didn't know it was it until I kept praying about it. I kept praying about it. And I was like, okay. And then, I started lessening, the guilt and the shame, and started being a little more bold.
Mhm.
This is who I am. And so, you know, with some friends, it was okay, if I can't really be my true self with them and them know everything about me, like you said, those people don't, if those people aren't honest with you, those people didn't want to accept me, you drop them, right?
Right.
And so I was like, okay, if they don't love all of me, then they're not my friends.
True.
So yeah, so I started like going, okay, who are the people that I can surround myself with, who are going to build me up and support me and celebrate me? Because I do my best to do that for other people. I
Yes.
needed that back in return.
Right.
And so that was part of the process as well, of just becoming more internally of who I was, so that I could help others. Because until I made peace with who I was, I
Mhm.
couldn't help someone else struggling with those same issues. And it may not be sexuality. It could be that you're an artist, but you're working in a tax job.
Right.
But just linking those things together was something that I knew I needed to do for myself before I could do it for other people.
Wow. That's awesome. So, um, in essence, you're saying don't change you, change your point of view.
Oh, girl, you a poet. I love it. A poet. Don't change you, change your point of view. I love that. Yes, absolutely. Change your point of view, change the people that you're spending time with,
Right.
change your environment, change the people you listen to, change your point of view. I love that.
Right. Because we are
Absolutely.
who we are, right? God
Yeah.
created us the exact way he wanted us to be. So
Yes.
we allow, like I said, we allow so much to intertwine and to start defining us that
Right.
we try to change us. instead of just changing our point of view, right?
Yeah.
We don't
That's
realize,
good.
thank you, we don't realize how important our thoughts are. Just like
Right.
you were saying in the beginning, it's enough for me to validate me. That's all I need. Now, when you validate me, that's my bonus.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I
Like,
do.
so yeah, like, no, I don't need your validation. But when you do it, it's definitely a bonus.
Yeah, a little icing on the cake.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So your day-to-day journey with coaching, living this a great life, how would you say it has impacted your mental state? Like,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted certain things in my day. I wanted variety. I wanted to start my day the way I want to start. I'm a coffee drinker and I love to meditate. And so being in control of every bit of that has given me such a sense of peace, a sense of vitality. I mean, there are lots of days, it's Arizona, it's too hot right now, but like when the weather gets cooler, I go and sit on my patio and go, oh my goodness, I'm so thankful for this life. I get to do this. I get to get up in the morning and meditate. I get to do workout. I get to stretch. I get to do my scroll work. I get to journal. I get to do all, and then I get to get on the phone and Zoom and help people and help impact their lives. And so just the rewards I reap daily from the coaching, from the life that, this is, I am living in my best life. And sometimes I sit on that patio with the coffee and I look up and I do a lot of visualization. And it's like, what do I see myself as? And then sometimes I'm out there crying. And then, my spouse comes out and she goes, what's the matter with you? And I'm like, I'm just visualizing. I'm sorry. You just go back in. And I'm just crying, because again, remember, I wear my feelings on my sleeve. So it's just given me such a sense of peace, but also gratification. I get to do this, Ebony. I get to wake up and go, who can I help today? Whose life can I make better today?
And the great thing is they're choosing you to allow that.
Yes.
They want you to help them make that life.
And I'm so incredibly grateful for that. Yeah. Absolutely. Because there's so many coaches in the world. And when people choose me, it's an honor.
Yes, it is. It's definitely an honor. Tell me some people or something that you did to inspire you throughout this whole process, like your coaching process, reinventing who you are, unrelinquishing and unreleashing all that negativity, everything that was impacting you that wasn't you. Who did you listen to? Who inspired you? Like, what books did you read?
Oh my goodness. I read Carol Dweck from Mindset, because I was like, oh, I do have a fixed mindset. Brendon Burchard, Motivation Manifesto, loved it. Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, right? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask. And I mean, there's just so many. I mean, and I've gotten to a point of, I feel like I don't have the kind of time to read a book. So if it's not on Audible or an audio book, I was like, oh, I can't tackle that one right now. But those types of things. But also I listen to Motiversity, like it's on YouTube, and it's like this motivational video channel that like has all the greatest inspirational talks and stuff compiled and clips and snippets of them things. And some of those I find, I just go, oh my God, like every now and then I have to like I get up in the morning and I generate and I do all this stuff. I visualize, I meditate. But some days I feel like I'm a Tesla who has to pull into the station and recharge for like 3 hours. And so every now and then that happens as well. And then I'll go to Motiversity. I'll go back to the book. There are some things that I've highlighted in the books and go, remember who you are, those types of things. So I am inspired and influenced a lot by those people, especially Tony Robbins, Brendon Burchard, Les Brown. Yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by Steve Harvey. I mean,
yes, I love Steve Harvey.
And he's funny, and look at the success he's had.
Yes.
Eric
and
Thomas.
The trials.
Oh yeah, Absolutely. So lots of people that, because every now and then I was like, I need this kind of inspiration. Sometimes I need this kind of
Yeah.
inspiration. So it's a whole plethora of different things that I go to.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so in saying that,
Mhm.
was there one moment where you felt like you just weren't inspirable?
Mm. No,
Okay.
no, no, like for me feeling inspired.
Right.
No, no, I have always
Awesome.
felt like, yeah, that I've always been inspired by sometimes the least little thing. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
cannot tell you one moment in my life where I wasn't inspired by some. Now I can tell you about there are times when I didn't surround myself with the right people, and it wasn't that I wasn't inspirable. I just wasn't hanging around people who were inspiring.
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But
Well, that's
no, I don't.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've always had that thing where, what? Hey, fill me
Right.
up.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your podcast and what you do on your podcast, where we can reach your podcast.
yeah. So my podcast is called Reinvent You.
Mhm.
Ebony's been a guest on the Reinvent You. And so basically this podcast is about, it's really inspiring success stories, and it's coaches and it's regular people and how they have reinvented themselves, but also how they take, because we all go, this is regular life, this is average life. What parts of their life have they excelled at? Like, you're a perfect example of this, of someone who was, you saw the darkness, you
Right.
found light, when
Right.
lose your job, start a company, have a modeling studio, start coaching, all this stuff, when most people would lay over and lay down and just go, poor me, poor victim me. So
Yeah.
that's why, I was so drawn to your story. And so it's all about reinvent you. It's never too late to reinvent yourself.
No.
Whether you've gone to college and you have 5 degrees, and if you don't like any of those degrees, let's go do something else. And you can be
Right.
89. As long as you still have breath and air in those lungs, let's do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So
yeah,
how
so
long have
that,
you been,
what's
sorry.
that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So
No, no, you're fine.
how
Yeah.
long have you been doing your podcast?
It only has been a little over, it's been about a year and 3 months. And
Awesome.
that's it. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, because every now and then I get a little down and I go, yeah, I really want to grow my audience more. And then, like, every now and then I go, because I said, when I started, I said, as a minimum, I'm giving it 2 years. And every now and then I have some validation with it. Like yesterday, I got an email that, Chartable says my podcast is in the 5%. I was like, oh, okay. Like, out of almost 3 million different podcasts in this. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take that. And so I was like, yes, and then I think the listen score was like 33%. I was like, we can get that up. We can get that up. We can go like to 50%. That's good,
Right. Right.
because we're talking, Tom Bilyeu's probably like, 85%,
Yes.
And so, right. And so I love doing the podcast because I think everybody has so many different types of stories. Like I had one of I never know what resonates with someone. And so I have so many different kinds of people on, and so, like, I had a men's coach on a couple of weeks ago, and I've had some of my male clients go, I like that guy. He was good. I've had a lady on talking about introverts compared to extroverts. And they're like, oh, that was my favorite episode. And I was like, really? Okay. One of my friends told me the other day after your episode, that homegirl is inspiring. Yeah.
That's
That
awesome.
home, yeah, that homegirl is inspiring. And see, that's what I'm talking about. If it's one person who benefits from one episode, then I've done my job.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That is
Yeah.
true. I love that. So what I'm gathering is that your business is affected by your podcast, or your podcast is affecting your business, right?
Yeah, and
Because
that
they
was the
complement
plan.
each other.
They
Yeah.
do. They do. That was the plan. And so Yeah. So, I love, like, as a matter of fact, I've gotten business, I've gotten clients through through the podcast. I've gotten people reaching out, I've also gotten people who said, I like that guest you had on the podcast. I saw her information, it's cool. Thank you for doing that because she looks like something I need. Absolutely. Because I used to be a person who had lack and scarcity. It's like, there's not enough for everybody else. How dare you not choose me and you choose them?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and that doesn't get you anywhere.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you have a website we can go to?
I do.
Your social media handles?
Yeah.
Tell everybody where they can reach you.
It's my name. So my website is traviasteward.com. All the information is there. If anybody wants to have, just a free discovery call to figure out, hey, am I the kind of coach who can help you reinvent yourself, reinvent some aspect of your life? Am I the coach who can help you if you're here because you're one identity and you want to get there? The only way we can get there is if you become the person you need to be so you can get here. And then I'm on Instagram, Travia Steward Coach. I'm on Facebook, Travia Steward. I've even been trying to play around with a little bit of TikTok, but don't go there because I might cancel that because I was like, that's just not my people on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm on LinkedIn. So yeah, my name, it's all there. So yeah. So I would love to connect with people.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And
Absolutely.
I cannot wait for my listeners to hear this and to get inspired and just to be motivated just by you, not me. Like you said, it's all about how we can help other people and give them exactly what they need, because everybody's needs are totally different, right? Everybody needs something different. Everybody needs a different, unique taste or a stab at something. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I will talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you, Ebony. It's been a pleasure. Honestly. Thank you.